how this fares, but we can tell that, oh, shame she didn't get a little bit more action off that ball. It's a birdie chance. Brittany, can you see it? Yeah, about 10 foot.
I think that went over the back as well. MJ her here on 9.
9-9 for MJ up the hill. This is looking pretty good.
She may get some assistance with the pace of that putt from her playing companion in B Park.
A little bit different distance for area. That is 135, just a wedge.
A wedge uphill to a very makeable birdie putt for Area Jutanugarn. She's come off back-to-back top 10s last couple of events. She is lurking.
Off the upslope, Lydia Ko. Been just 3 paces off that left collection area. And that's what we call a bailout in the business.
And that's what we call come off the golf course, unfortunately. What a shame. But, as we always say, there is no room to take any chances here. All of the equipment showing that things are getting a little bit too dangerous, not only for the players and the caddies, but of course the thousands of people who are out there. So the local time is around 12:32 as the players are forced off the course due to the weather in Singapore. And there is the lady who leads the field at the moment, Michelle Wee, at 13 under par. So it is a shame, but there's just no room to manoeuvre here. If there's any danger, this is the only thing you can do.
One consolation here is that the tournament organizer has done such a terrific job, and so have HSBC, that there is the travelling cow that you can go and have a bite to eat in. There's the curbside gourmet, the coffee bandit, so you can go and have a refreshing drink. And that centre stage area, which is to the right of the first tee and the second hole, is a wonderful place for families to go to as well, where they can maybe take some respite from the inclement weather until play resumes.
And the word that we have had is that this front is very slow moving, so this could take a while. Lydia making her way off the 11th after she's going to have a long birdie putt, hopefully in not too long a period of time, but it may very well be a little while.
So. Are you Lydia?
Are you?
You look so different.
I am different.
Wow, a lot's changed.
Yeah, apart from my name, everything.
Let me see your passport.
Passport. Oh, I don't look like me with no passport.
No, that's true. The glasses.
Like, yeah, wrong person. War's gone up.
The world's coming down.
World's coming down.
All right, high spirits from Suzanne and Lydia as they head towards the clubhouse. And as they do, we'll bring you up to date with what has gone on in the first hour or so of our coverage. World number 2, Area Jutanugarn. Here she is with her third shot at the 5th hole. She'd made a birdie at 1, knocked it pretty well stone dead, and would move to 2 under par for the day with that.
The world number 1, Lydia Ko, has got the measure of these greens, got off to an explosive start. Here she is on the 8th hole. And this would be her 5th birdie of the day. 4 under at the time to get to 12 under par.
We saw what Area did at the 5th. She made a par on 6. And then this at the par 3. An absolute precision play to the front of the green. And she'd go and convert that for birdie.
It wasn't the start that MB Park was after. The overnight leader, 1 over par through 6 holes. We know what a wizard she is with this club. And she showed us again why. From off the green, unlikely birdie at 7 for Inby.
Misha Wee kept a bogey off the scorecard yesterday and has continued in the same rich form today. Here she is on the 8th hole. Started with birdie, birdie, and then a birdie at the par 5. And that set her up for the 4th birdie of the day, which she went on to make to be out in 32 and hold a slender 1-shot lead.
It was a colourful scorecard for Lydia Ko. Just the one bogey to this point. But now she has twice as many birdies than she does par today. So what a brilliant start from Lydia Ko.
Players and spectators making their way off the golf course due to lightning activity in the area here at Sentosa Golf Club. Around 12:32, the official suspension of play. And when play was suspended, the leaderboard looked a little bit like this. Michelle Wee at 13 under the card. The leader by 1 from the world number 1 and the world number 2 locked in battle at 12 under. 2 shots further back, Sung Kyun Park through 9 holes at 2 under, out in 34. Just an even par start for Inby. Amy Yang, what about the charge from Amy, if you don't mind? She's 7 under par for the day. She went out in 34, and on the front 9, she's gone birdies at 1, 2, 5, 6, and 7 to move to 7 under par for the day. And that would be the best round of the tournament if she can hold that. Brooke Henderson's picked up a couple. Paula Creamer has picked up a couple as well to be in the top 10, along with Anna Nordquist, Hannah Jang. Just a steady start for Suzanne Pedersen, and not the greatest of starts for MJ Herr, as we saw at that 8th hole. Morgan Pressel moving along nicely has picked up 4, and Jess Cord has picked up 4, and Katrina Matthew has picked up 4 as well. But the common fact that you can see there with most of the players is that it's taking red figures, and substantially red figures, to get it done.
So Yeon Yu also enjoying a very good day on the golf course, 4 under par. And 5 under from Lexi Thompson, who had a torrid day yesterday on the course. At one point she was 5 over for her round, but recovering well. As we go down, we see more depth in this field of 63 champions. Haru Nomura, 2-time winner last year on the LPGA Tour. 1 under par today.
And a nice round from Hee Young Park, even though the damage has probably been done for Hee Young over the first couple of days. But she's picked up 3 shots today. And the young Singaporean in the field, Amanda Tan, a great experience for her to be rubbing shoulders with these very best players in the world. 19 of the top 20 are here. Unfortunately, they have their feet up at the moment, and the reason is because of the weather which is surrounding Sentosa. That is the weather radar, so it looks as though it's going to be here with us for a little while, and depending on what those other fronts do on the way through, we could be hit by 1 or 2 more before we can get players back out on the golf course. As we've said, safety is paramount in this situation, so they'll send the carts out onto the golf course and get the players and caddies off, and they will also get the spectators off as quickly as possible, just to make sure there is no threat. So the play is suspended around about 12:32 local time. We can only sit and wait and hope that Mother Nature smiles on us, and we'll be back here to Sentosa Golf Club when play resumes in the 3rd round of the HSBC Women's Champions. best players in the world are in Singapore. The weather has been volatile in this great part of the world. The players were forced from the course at 12:31 local time, but thankfully the weather has cleared and we are about to resume play in the third round of the HSBC Women's Champions of 2017. And there is the young lady who heads the field. Michelle Wee at 13 under par is our leader by a shot from that young lady. The world number 1, Lydia Ko of New Zealand, and the world number 2, Ariya Jutanugarn, is hot on their heels. What a leaderboard that is. Throw in Sung Hyun Park, Inbee Park, Amy Yang and Brooke Henderson for good measure. And what we have is a Saturday to savour. As we wait to get things back underway, Kate Burton and Ali Whitaker alongside me, Peter Donegan in the commentary box. Sandy McKenzie is out on course. And thankfully, it's only been an hour and 3/4. We were thinking that it might even be a lot longer than that.
And it certainly can be in this part of the world, in Singapore, a place I've lived for the last 11 years. We've had times where there's been no play at all. And so we do anticipate getting the entire third round, fingers crossed, completed today. So we are back on schedule tomorrow.
Now it's just a wait for the hooter to go. Inbee Park has not had the greatest of days so far. She's only even par for the day, and we just saw MJ Her a little while ago. She is 1 over par for the day. So the players who are facing a bit of a struggle on this Saturday are Inbee, MJ and Suzanne Pedersen, who is even par for the day. But it's all shaking down to be what looks like a fabulous conclusion to Saturday. Marty Robinson out there saying, OK, let's restart the engines. Let's get this thing going again. And MJ will be hoping that the break has brought a change of fortunes for her after what has been a spluttering start with bogey at 1, bogey at 7 and a bogey at 8. And our first order of business, birdie putts at the 9th hole for our final group.
Well, I know we've had a little weather delay, but you could not have more fantastic conditions. It's overcast, a little bit humid, just a fantastic, no wind around, it's perfect.
This is a very difficult task to come out after an hour and 3/4, but if anyone can do it with the putter in hand from about 20 feet or so, it would be this player.
With play on the new Tanjong course this year, easier for the players to take cover in the clubhouse. The Serapong course is on the other side, so it has worked out very well. This new home for the women's champions, as Inbee Park makes the halfway turn in 36, which is going to feel like a gazillion to her, considering she turned in 31 yesterday. Outstanding front nine.
Shall we? Second into 10. Pins over in that back right corner today will require a fade. And you can see the green's still very receptive, perhaps even more so after a little bit more moisture.
Well, she genuinely looks like she's enjoying it out there.
I was just thinking the same thing. Her face has been free of pressure for the entire week. MJ might be feeling a bit though. That's something you often see after a weather delay and a rain delay. The ball coming up short with early putts.
Pedersen coming in from the ideal line. Oh, wow, that went 150 and change, so firing on the 10th hole.
Great birdie chance now for the world number 2. Little right to left. Just absolutely hit that through the break.
Sunghyun Park is at 10. Hole location 27 on, 5 from the right. 3 back from the lead. She's picked up 2 so far. And just a little pull. Still a birdie putt coming though.
Tidy up, poor par for area. And a very solid start for her today. Currently bogey free. Important in these conditions.
Speaking of solid starts, it's been better than solid for Lydia Ko. She's picked up 5 shots today. And this to move into a share of the lead with Michelle Wee at the 11th. Lovely for speed. She's starting to look ominous now. Not the finish she was after in Australia. She came thundering home towards the end in Thailand last week, and now everything just seems to be a matter of engaging gears for her. She's looking better as it goes on.
And I think it's the putting that has been the real key for Ko. A couple of weeks ago in Australia, she spent a good hour, a couple of days after finishing play, just trying to read the greens and get the measure of them. Well, going brilliantly was Amy Yang, but now she finds herself in a real spot of trouble on 8.
Oy.
Well, that was unfortunate. Jeez, that was a little bit unlucky. Horrible lie.
Almost looked as though her feet were down in, almost down in the gutter over there. And she caught the corner of the path and came straight back.
May very well be back in there. We'll have to wait and see. She was also a bit unlucky. The shot that she played into there was basically when the hooter sounded. So that also came at an inopportune moment. Area, 1 back.
Area just bombing this down the centre. It'll just work towards the right-hand side. It'll be a great drive. Perfect conditions, as I said before.
Pedersen flew the green, a very bold attempt with her approach.
Nice drive by Imby coming down this left side of the fairway, and it'll kick towards the centre.
No surprises there when you consider that she led the field in fairways hit. 96.4% of fairways over the first couple of days, if you don't mind.
Which one did she miss?
It was just one, actually. Brooke Henderson, birdie chance. This is one of those players that could be scary good when she learns how to putt, because she knows now, and obviously she's got such a great record on tour last year, but the amount of putts I've seen Brooke miss for birdie is more than any other player. She's an incredible ball striker, but as soon as she gets that momentum going with this club, look out, world number 1.
And her number in that category over the first couple of days has been okay, tied 6th, and even then it could have been a whole lot more. Seemed to be a competition between Brooke and Mo Martin yesterday to see who could shave the edge more.
Talk about good putting this week. Sunghyun Park leads. And she keeps it that way as well. You know, she hasn't been good. Fairways hit, she's tied for 53rd, and greens in regulation, she's 59th. But when it comes to putts and holding the ball, she has been very good on the short stuff.
MJ really gets it out there. This is in the centre of the fairway, a little bit towards the right. It'll kick further right and should pick up the fairway still. Long way down.
Yep, good drive.
Meantime, up ahead, Michelle Wee to stretch the lead to 2. Michelle's numbers this week very strong in greens in regulation. She's in the top 3. th in average driving distance, averaging about 268 yards over the first couple. But the most important stat is she's on top of the leaderboard.
Well, a player who, can you believe it, is playing her 6th shot on this par 5-8. And so she will be putting for a double bogey. But what is so upsetting about this is that she is 7 under par today. She went out in 34. She teed off on the 10th. And then she started her back 9. Birdie, birdie, par, par, birdie, birdie, birdie. Oh, what a shame.
Par saver for Suzanne Pedersen to remain within 5 shots of the lead. That is a very good up and down after a second shot airmailed the green. That was going to be tough. I'm just questioning Duncan about the yardage, perhaps. Not for the first time. But she was very honest about it when Kate asked her about it yesterday. I think Duncan's ears have only just stopped burning, but now they might be singed a little bit again. But the most important thing is that Suzanne was able to show her brilliance and get up and down. Michelle Wee leads by 1. Look at the quality behind her, though. The world number 1, the world number 2, the rising star from Korea, an established couple of stars from Korea, Canada's young gun Brooke Henderson. That's why they've turned out in their numbers this week in Singapore.
.140 to the front, 167, just a 9-9, just going for the centre of the green.
Even from the left side of that fairway, you can barely see the pin. It's tucked so far right today.
There's a couple of sneaky right hole locations on the back 9, 18 in particular. Well, come on, Amy, please sink this putt. Oh, Lord.
Snowman would not be good in the heat of Singapore, and a snowman on the scorecards not too good either. That's an 8 coming up for Amy. Second shot for Inby at 10.
150 yards. That was 9-iron and not too bad. Very tight pin here, and it's downslope as well.
Yes, those hole locations can be totally dictated by the slopes near them.
Just a wedge for MJ, and this is looking pretty good. It's just left of the flag, but it's not going to be too far away.
Yeah, great shot from MJ Her. And so we start the back 9. Crowds have still remained. Maybe they went off to centre stage, which there were a host of different forms of entertainment, eateries, refreshments to be had.
Magnificent new Tanjong course at Sentosa Golf Club in Singapore. playing host for the first time to the best players in the world and the HSBC Women's Champions. The course only opened around about 3 months ago, and it is proving a stern test, and it is proving spectacular. How about that? Some wonderful vistas from this great golf course, and we are enjoying seeing the best players in the world strutting their stuff as well, including this rising star. 11th hole, 11 under, Sung Hyun Park.
The caddies refer to Sun Hyung Park, certainly back in Korea, as Tiger. It's probably for just how aggressive she is on the golf course. Well, it could have all different connotations.
It certainly could. Decent looking shot here from Lids. It was about 150 to the front of the green pin, obviously on that front right corner today. And perhaps the greens, those front pins, a little bit more accessible at the moment with the extra moisture. They were tougher early on.
Yeah, great swing, John.
And once again, leaving nothing behind, Michelle Wee. That will bound down the fairway to a good spot on 11.
When you see her playing like this, it is almost incomprehensible that she missed nearly half the cuts in the event she played in. She played 25 events last year, missed 12 cuts. You just can't believe that that could happen with what we've seen so far. Hanging live for Anna Nordqvist. She's 1 under for the day. This is at 12. Had her difficulties there yesterday.
Oh, how good a shot was that?
Outstanding.
That was serious. Off a drawing lie to have to fade it to a front pin. Well, tip of the cap to you, Anna Nordqvist.
We'll talk about a player who's missed cuts. Mary Jatanagan missed 10 consecutive putts in 2015 before her outstanding season last year. Outside chance of a birdie.
Bombs away for Suzanne at 11. Not ideal over there.
Tricky.
Pins on the left, but it doesn't really matter. We just saw the stage in the background there. That's going to be a hive of activity later on.
Oh, isn't it just? Plenty going on today at the HSBC Women's Champions. Here's Henderson on 12.
After a positively monstrous drive as well.
Ooh, favourable bounce too, that will help. So Ali, after the golf finishes today, are you going to head off to the concert tonight with the headline act of Lee Jun-gi?
Well, I did actually hear the sound check yesterday, and I can tell you some of the supporting acts as well sounded absolutely brilliant. So I will be there along with a few more people, I would imagine, Inbee Park from long range.
Oh! Well, she deserves tickets after that putt.
We'll put you in the front row after that, Inbee.
Get you on stage.
Why not?
Wow.
Inbee's moved it to 1 under par. You can get a golf cart, or you can just have your own mode of transportation around the course.
Tell you what, those balance bikes are very, very good. Great way for children to start riding a bike. Oh, take out a couple of spectators in the process, and off we go.
Picking up some serious speed. What he needs to do is go out to the 7th tee and just drop down that 12-yard elevation change.
Way there, big fella.
I don't think the brakes are that good on those things. It's a good way to wear out your shoes.
Good way to keep Dad fit, that's for sure.
Helmet might come in handy by the look of that. MJ needs this. Just to try and get things back on track. It's turning into one of those days. The only one of the top dozen players on the leaderboard to be over par for the day is MJ Hurt.
opting to chip. And why wouldn't you with a short game like Lydia Ko's? She has such a neutral action, the club coming in perfectly square and in line with her body at impact, so not too much can go wrong with that action.
Keeps it simple. This isn't simple for Pettersson.
That's not going to be the easiest shot coming up either to an elevated green around 30 yards away.
You can't afford to miss the drive on 11. Pay the price straight away. So May and Dylan march off. She's just one behind.
This would be some birdie after the second shot she had to produce. And a Nordquist of the 12th. Never quite frightening the hole, but a par nonetheless after the drive would be a pretty good result.
The best player on the LPGA last year. Her first event as a member of the LPGA. And look at the check she gets on that. That is a crisply hit shot. And look, still moving.
But she is the total package. Sun Hyun Park. She can hit it high. She can get spin. Not so much around this golf course with these new greens, but there's not many weaknesses in her game.
There's the champion of 2015, Inbee Park. As we said, incredible achievement from her after playing in one of the major championships last year, a couple of months off, and then she becomes the Olympic gold medalist. Up the hill for Michelle Wee, punching one in at 11. And another birdie putt coming. She was in 13th position, tied for putting over the first couple of days.
Another chance for Brooke Henderson to get into double digits under par. And another opportunity shies by for the Canadian. So let's take a look at the 11th hole. These bunkers on the front right here not coming into play at all, really. But the second set will only be hit a really shocking drive. However, if you can get it down past this 150 into that little gully, you do get a little bit more run up to this elevated green. And there's no bunkers, but plenty of collection areas, playing just a little bit over its average. Just the 5 birdies out there today. And that pin on the left side will encourage people to be left of the pin and maybe even short left of the green. As you can see, that false front falling away.
Yesterday, this 11th hole was the 4th easiest hole on the golf course. It didn't figure in either the hardest 6 or the easiest 6 on Thursday in round 1.
It's going to test their concentration. The band rehearsal is happening, but that is perfect down the centre.
Yeah, Sandy, come on. Are you going to stay on the golf course, or are you going to go and check out and get front row seats for Lee Jung-gi?
Well, can I just go right now? I could get in the front row.
If you could, and it'll be well worth going to. Wow, there was music on the driving range this morning. And Suzanne Pettersson could do with a bit of help here on 11. Great shot. Not easy when you're playing to an elevated green to get that check coming out of the rough.
Now, here's Amy Yang at the 9th, and we've been looking at our scoring system, Kate, and we've found something interesting out from the 8th hole.
Yes, it was actually a 6th that Amy Yang recorded, so she was able to take a drop, from what we understand, a drop from the drain is most probably part of the cart path. So escaping with just a bogey. So a new golf course in 2017, just familiarising ourselves with the lie of the land, but it was good to get away with just a bogey for Amy Yang. So you still find her at 6 under par for the round, and this putt would be for a round of 66.
Equal best of the week after Michelle Wee was able to do that in the opening round. What a great day. Good fight back. Playing the golf course the other way around. 5 birdies on what turned out to be her inward 9. We know she could be a birdie machine. She showed us that in Korea a couple of years ago.
Norquist for par. And in itself, not a bad 4, but given her ridiculously good second shot, an opportunity missed with the birdie putt.
Up over the rise for Sun Hyun Park is a good chance if she gives it enough.
Oh, now this one's going well left, a long way left.
Just a tidy up for Brooke Henderson to remain in outright 6th place at 9 under. Having picked up a couple today, birdies came at 2 and 5 and 6. Drop shot at 10 for the Canadian. In the firing line though, just 4 shots back from the lead. She tapped in and Lydia will do likewise.
Got a chance to catch up with some of the Getty photographers who are covering this event this week for HSBC Women's Champions and saying, oh, what a dream it is to follow Lydia Ko. Scott Halloran.
Downhill birdie chance here. And that would have put her 2 in front for Michelle Wee not to beat out on the 11th hole.
One thing you've got to admire about Michelle Wee too, and that smile's been on her face all week, but even in the tough times, you never saw her throwing tantrums on the golf course. And people occasionally speculated that maybe she should have been perhaps a little harder, than, you know, maybe that little killer instinct perhaps was not there. But there's only one person who would know that, and that's Michelle. But to see her attitude this week is just so refreshing.
Well, let's cross over from the 11th hole over to, so I'd say this is the 9th hole. And then you cross over to the driving range, which has a whopping great big stage on it.
Speaking of refreshing, this is going to be a fun night. I know a lot of the players are excited to come out. Obviously, a big Korean contingent on the LPGA, so it's going to be really fun to watch them get excited for Lee Joon-gi. Saw some of his music, pretty handy behind a mic.
Yeah, they bust a few moves this evening. Oh, and Suzanne Pedersen might bust a few valves after missing that putt.
I can tell you, not long after the play was suspended, that the patrons and the fans were already arriving and getting ready for what's going on tonight. So they're very keen. Shan needing a pair of binoculars to find out where the hole is here. And what about that for a putt from long range? That is exceptional.
She was putting from Bangkok in Thailand. She never left last week.
That was at 13.
A bit of a shame there for Suzanne after that beautiful pitch shot, not to be able to take advantage.
What a good two-putt. Solid scorecard, no drop shots, couple of birdies for Shanshan. When her putter gets warm, like Brooke Henderson, she is a big threat. Two-time winner late last season.
And the Korean star, emerging star, remains within 2 shots of the lead. Again, if you haven't been with us over the first couple of days, the players are now in a patch of the golf course where it's important just to hang on. You're not going to tear up the patch between 12 or between 10 and 14. But if you can actually get around there in even par, maybe even get yourself 1 under par through that patch, then you've done a very good job. So it's holding pattern time for the people at the top of the leaderboard. Michelle Wee by 1 from Lydia Ko and Area Jutanagan. Hope you're enjoying the action from Sentosa Golf Club in Singapore.
Coming out of the left rough, not an easy angle. 141. Made good contact. This is a really good looking shot to a tough pin from this side.
That's a terrific recovery. Crowd don't realise how close that is as well from a very tricky lie. A strong player, that's what helps. Need to have very strong wrists and forearms to get through that rough. So easy it can snag the club head.
.121 for Inbits, just a wedge. Huge elevation here, just started to the right. She's drawing it in. It could be very good.
It is good.
That was only a foot away from being right down the bottom of that swale. But a good shot. He's duly rewarded.
Just 116 for MJ. It was a good drive down here. A little bit of light rain falling just to the right of the flag. Now, where's that going to go?
It is going to stay just on the dance floor, hopefully.
We
no,
see nothing,
it is not.
Nothing from down the bottom, so she'll be surprised when she gets up there.
Yeah, you'll see it in a minute, Sandy, because it's coming back towards you. Of the sponsors' invites there owning the stage, Paula Creamer and also Michelle Wee doing exceptionally well in this week here in Singapore. And here is our leader at the 12th hole. Difficult driving hole, dog leg right. Michelle moving all the way over to the left-hand side of the tee box and coming up with an excellent drive.
Wonderful to see the chief executive of HSBC following Michelle Wee, Guy Harvey Samuel. We'll be seeing him on the 18th green tomorrow with the trophy. This will be the 13th hole.
230 to the front from there. Shanshan being able to get on as well. It's 501 yards. The 13th. 2 almighty blows.
Sun Hyun Park choosing not to go with the driver because very easy to run out of fairway left. Can Anna Norquist come back?
She's got to run this all the way up the rise for MJ. It is quite steep, then it gets up and over. Oh, that's not going to have enough on it.
She was pretty lucky that didn't come all the way back
Yeah.
down to her feet there. A foot shorter and MJ might have been in a spot of bother.
Let's go ahead to Brooke Henderson with her second shot at the par 5 13th.
Go. Oh, it was in the go zone. Ouch. Now that presents a very challenging long bunker shot for Henderson.
Their share of the lead. It's not going to happen for Area Jutanagan. She'll remain at 12 under par.
She bought a house last year at the end of the season. She had a couple of million spare. So I wonder how that's kept her busy in the off-season.
It didn't keep her busy. She kept her clothes in suitcases, actually. Not much for housework, that one. Third shot here for Anna Norquist. And this one is hanging short right.
Too easy a lie. After that excellent shot on the 12th hole.
Let's see if MJ can make a par. She can ill afford another bogey on the card. And unfortunately, that is what is going to happen. Her day is going from bad to worse. She's going to plummet down now to -7, and that will be in a tie for 12th.
Second to 12 for Michelle Wee. Pin on the front right over by that TV tower. This needs a hop, skip and a jump, and it gets it. Very lucky bounce through that rough area in front of the green, and that will set up a putt to get to 14 under par.
Inby was unlucky that the ball didn't nestle right down beside the hole, but she's got a birdie putt nonetheless. We talked about her numbers in fairways hit this week. She's been tied 8th greens in regulation, tied 6th in putting, so it's starting to get back to the old Inby again.
A lot of green to cover here for Lydia Ko, and that needs to settle down.
Well, it's been a while since a player with her immense talent on in the short game area has made a mistake like that. But such is the depth of play. Talk about how well Inby's playing. She needs to, just to stay within touching distance of the world #1. Now this is a test.
Pins over by that red triangle. And she did not get the bounce that Michelle Wee got. Really enjoying watching Sung Hyung Park play. I know she's moved to America, doesn't speak a lot of English, but Sayri Park told her to go and see Brian Mogg, so she started work with him in Florida.
And his nickname amongst the Korean players is Little Bit, because they reckon that's how much Korean he speaks.
Well, they used 2 female translators for them to work together, which is pretty impressive.
Well, Inby Park, in her post-round interview yesterday, was very effusive about her round. Had a lot to say. Very chatty these days. Tough shot now for Henderson. Fair bit of green to work with.
Hard to get a lot of roll out of a lot of these bunkers because that one's quite shallow and it is an upslope, so you do have to almost throw it all the way back because you can't intentionally chunk it out of bunkers like these. It's quite tight lies in the bunkers with the trodden down sand.
This is the way that the golf course is playing. Interestingly enough, that 18 is the hardest hole on the golf course today. A lot of that has to do with the pin position.
Pretty much all of it has to do with that whole location. Wow, from the player's perspective on the fairway, you've got to wonder if the pin is actually on the green. It looks so far tucked on the right-hand side.
You don't want to be down the right of the fairway at 18, otherwise you've just got this tiny little plateau to aim for. There's that stretch that we were talking about between 10 and 15, and yet again 3 of those holes figuring in the hardest holes on the golf course, so a good idea to keep things together in this stretch.
And one of the other very challenging holes out on this new Tanjong course is the 12th. It's my favourite hole, I have to say, because it gives the players a great deal of thought off the tee. Most of them will be flying it over those trees on the right-hand side, ideally with a little bit of fade. But you also need the distance to get down there to attack this green in 2. Anything long off the tee, you'll be blocked out by trees and in the rough. And so if you can, navigate it round to a dogleg that sweeps to the right to a green not protected by bunkers. There's a grassy knoll short, but distinct levels on this green. And where the hole is located today at the front, certainly not easy.
Inby also going to the left-hand side of the tee box, as Michelle Wee did.
Starting it out to the right on this dog leg, bringing it into the fairway, and that'll be just left centre.
There's a tough assignment, especially for a 4th shot, a 2nd chip here by the green on 13. And that is rare that you see Lydia Ko have her hands that far forward using the real leading edge on the golf club. Usually she has her hands almost in line with the golf club, but just trying to hit down because that was up against the collar of the rough. It's going to be a tough par save from there.
That'd be irritating to make a bogey on a par 5. Very nice.
She's just got every area of the game. She hits the ball long distances, she putts well, she recovers well. Area.
Just starting that on the right-hand side and bringing it back to the centre, and that's all you need to do on this hole. It's a difficult second in.
Should mention too, we said Amy Yang got it around in 66, equal best round of the tournament so far. Well, So Yeon Yu has done exactly the same thing. She's been able to get it around in 6 under par 66. And a Nordquist coming up just a little shy, the 13th. So 6 under par rounds for Amy Yang and So Yeon Yu, 5 under par rounds for Morgan Pressel and Katrina Matthew.
Yeah, nice line too on this ball. Not a breath of breeze out here, and that will find the centre also.
Wouldn't this be a bonus birdie on a hole that measures over 400 yards, 429 in previous days? The tee's been moved up just a little bit, 25 yards further forward today on the 12th. Just a few inches away from extending her lead.
She got stung by a bee in the Bahamas at the beginning of the year, which put paid to her chances in that tournament.
Birdie putt for Brooke Henderson now. And the 13th after that long bunker shot. She will have to make do with a par. happened on Thursday, it happened on Friday, it's happening again today in this stretch of the course where we feel as though, to a degree, we're just treading water. The players are just trying to protect their score and make sure that nothing too radical happens to it. And Lydia's going to have to come up with a good putt here to protect her score. And what a par save that is. There's the world number one in action right there.
And that's scrambling. That is great.
And Nordquist remains 1 under par for the day and 5 shots out of the lead, which is held by Michelle Wee. So 66 it was for Amy Yang and So-Yeon Yu, 67s for Morgan Pressel and Katrina Matthew. Other good rounds today, 69s from Hyoju Kim, Stacey Lewis, Moria Jutanagan, Se Young Kim. They are the lower scores in this interrupted third round. What a par save from the world number one, Lydia Ko, 1 back from the lead in round 3.
Michelle Wee leads the charge in Singapore, but it's a world-class leaderboard, just one behind her, the world number 1 and the world number 2. Wow, she's going to have to keep them in their sights in her rearview mirror.
Everyone on that page was the best player in their own country at one given point in time, and isn't that incredible? They've all come together here in Singapore to put on a show for us this week, and they are certainly doing that.
Morgan Pressel, in spite of playing the Pro-Am with Giles Morgan, the global head of sponsorship for HSBC, has managed to record a round of 5 under par. So well done to Morgan Pressel. And Jessica Korda, also 5 under today, and So-Yeon Yu, former US Open champion and world number 7, has climbed to 7 under for the championship.
Sorry, Ali, not the day that Suzanne and MJ were looking for, as we've said in their progress around the golf course. And those blue numbers always stand out against the red, but they really stand out on a day like this where there's so much red in that right-hand column.
The breeze is down, it is wet, but it is a golf course you can attack when they're under these conditions. I mean, it was very breezy on Thursday and Friday.
Look at that round from Lexi Thompson, 66 from her. Well, she's still going, so it could be even lower than that. She's turning it on for the fans.
And starting on the back 9, so she's playing the easier 9 right now, so still a couple of opportunities for Lexi. And Megan Kang, oh, I had the pleasure of playing with her in the Pro-Am, and her dad, Lee, Pro-Am at the Australian Open in Adelaide. And what a delight, what a player she will be too.
To our global LPGA fans, this is Commissioner Mike Wan saying welcome back to Singapore, home of the HSBC Women's Champions. We're so proud to be back in our home here in Singapore, where we've been for 10 years. Hope you enjoy this incredible coverage of some of the best female golfers on the planet.
We are certainly enjoying them, Commish, and congratulations to the man in charge and also all of his staff at the LPGA for everything that they have done. This one from area leaking right.
Forward's a miss-hit, Pete. It's right and it's short with the 6-iron.
Lovely to hear from the Commissioner, who really does have the Midas touch on the LPGA Tour. Look how much prize money's increased under his reign. $25 million it's increased, and 10 more events as well.
Jess Korda into a very tough hole location. Tough. Who was I kidding? That was easy.
.184 for Indy, 5-iron. Yeah, this has got a nice line on it. This is not an easy shot in here. It's looking good.
It's Very good. Stay there, work with the backboard and come back down. Oh, that's super.
On the tee at 13, Sung Hyun Park. It is a classical golf swing. It's a bit of a throwback to the old days.
That's a bit of a throwback to every day. I wouldn't mind that.
Oh,
I'll have
yeah.
2 bowls of that for dinner, thank you.
And she gets it out there.
Okay.
7-iron for MJ, just playing to the right front of the screen. Will it pick it up?
Trying, but that's okay.
We've talked a lot about Sung Hyun Park's golf swing. MJ has got an underrated rhythmical golf swing. Not
She
a lot
really
of
does.
moving parts.
Yeah, a lot of extension as well through her arms as we head up to Jess Corder. 5 under to this point today.
Oh,
And that would have been for a 66. And that just feels a little bit mean, doesn't it?
her playing companions also going along nicely today. Jodie Ewart Shadoff 3 under for the day. Pornanong Patlam is 1 under for the day, and Jess gets it around in 5 under.
Jess has actually lost her voice at the moment, so to see her shoot 66 is absolutely incredible.
Awkward little shot this with the ball way above her feet. It's running. Got a little bit too much on it, but it wasn't bad from where she was.
If you are just coming in and joining us and expecting to see the closing stages of our coverage, the reason we're not there is because we were off the golf course for around about an hour and 3/4 earlier with the weather delay. But it hasn't stopped Michelle Wee from maintaining her lead, something she had at the end of the first day. She lost it yesterday to Inby Park, but she's got it back again. Stay there.
It's going to be tricky, that won't. Ouch, always look really painful, those earrings. One's in the middle of the ear. Talked about MJ Hur's swing, also being a tall player as well. Looks athletics, her arms hang naturally over the ball.
We'll see if Lydia can get one in tight here to challenge Michelle, who has maintained this outright lead for some little time now. And she can get it in there in birdie range, sitting up on top of the precipice. It should stay.
For birdie at 12 for Inby. And that never had enough speed on it. Such a huge green, this 1237 paces long. But many a swale. If anything, the rain that we've had has definitely made these front pins easier to get to. In all of the practice rounds, I saw no one putt from the front of the green, all from the back half.
Henderson not requiring much club to attack the 14th. But it's a tricky hole location. It's on a bowl. So anything not right at it will slip away.
And that was still moving. Hopefully it hung up there. Slippery little one, left to right down the hill for area. And that was always going to be one that she needed to give her full attention.
Properties in the background, all part of Sentosa Cove. you frame the 17th hole beyond the water, and wow, you need to have a few pennies if you want to buy one of those.
I can only imagine. Some of the designs they've come up with is quite visually stimulating,
Yes.
you could say.
This will be Aria's first bogey of the day, first bogey since the 9th hole yesterday. She's been very solid this week, just as you would expect from a player who was able to win 5 times last year. You said she had some spare cash last year and bought a house. I was going to say just one.
Mo Martin for birdie at 15. Pin on the left today. Oh, go on. There you go. I went out and had a look at the gardens alongside the water last night. Was out and about and could bounce back after those 2 bogeys there.
Check in with the weather and see what it's looking like. That's where we are on Sentosa. And there is a little bit of round, but there's none of those awful colours, the reds and the oranges, heading towards us that we saw earlier. So fingers crossed we might be okay.
Always a difficult putt, this, Pete, coming up the rise. But, oh, it was a good line on it. Fraction too much pace for Anna Nordqvist. Ricochets off the cup.
Second shot for Michelle Wee. Hybrid in hand.
Well, look at where she's lined up. Believing that she's got the chance to get home in 2.
Nice high ball flight.
Good aggressive shot. And she's still smiling out there, which is terrific to see.
Hasn't left her face for the entirety of this week yet, although she might have some company at the top of the leaderboard if Lydia Ko can get this one in the hole. Feels like we've seen no putts of more than about 6 feet hold for a little while now, but that's not unexpected.
Just an iron here for Sunghyun Park. Not happy with this one. Oh, but she should be. That got a monstrous kick forward. They might have almost been better off in that bunker. She'll have no green to work with. But certainly 2 almighty blows to get there.
Massive blows. Had it landed just a couple of yards further, she would have got a bit more action when it landed. But here is Henderson putting from off the green. It's a quick stroke that Brooke Henderson has over her putts.
Well, let's have a look at the par 5 13th hole, measuring 501 yards today. The bunker, front left, not so much in play. That second one, only really if you tug your drive off the tee, mainly up this right-hand side, is the place to be. And then it's a question of whether you go for the green or you lay up. If you lay up about the 100 mark and stay away from that bunker on the right. But if you can get up by the green in 2, there's a great collection area over on this right-hand side that you'll be pitching back across the green today. An eagle, and one of the easiest holes on the golf course out there at the moment, despite potentially one of the hardest pins you can pop out there.
And it was Lexi Thompson who made the eagle earlier in the day, and what's been a good round from her.
It's the bunker on the left at 260 you've got to be careful of. Well, Imby's not going anywhere near that. This is perfect down the centre.
Awkward length for par for Anna Nordqvist to remain within 5 shots of the leader. Nicely done. Very good positive stroke. Went in at good holing speed. Still up there in the top 10. We've got 5 players. We've got 12 players, I should say, within 5 of the lead.
Yeah, nice looking drive here as well. A little further left, but it's not going to go anywhere near the bunkers. We'll be in great shape.
After day one on this golf course, we weren't sure what kind of player it would really favour, and it seems as though mainly the longer hitters are rising to the top.
It's a good point you make, Callie, because if you're longer off the tee, you're coming into these greens with a shorter club. And when you can do that, you can then control what kind of spin you get on the slope, because it's so easy to land it on the wrong part of the green, which is a decent shot, and then it run through the back. Oh, and a good putt for Ko.
Yeah, especially on these new greens as well, where you are getting such a big first bounce. And it's a characteristic that as pros we're always aware of and we'll factor in with our yardages from the approach area.
Keeping this a little further down the right-hand side, and it'll be a long way down there. Should be in range.
That's almost certainly in range there. Averaging 266 yards without a driver in the bag. It's a pretty handy number at the back. Sung Hyun Park needing some touch here. Not a lot of green to work with. That was always going to be the danger from that area.
Sung Hyun has a tendency to get a little forward with her hands on her shorter shots and dig in that leading edge. Something she and Brian Mogg have been trying to work on, using the bounce more in her short game.
Steady as she goes, it is. Lydia Ko was able to manage a birdie at 10, and Sung Hyun got one of her own, and Inbee Park got a birdie at 10. But really, apart from that, with the top 6 players on the leaderboard, it's been all pars or a few bogeys thrown in there for good measure in this very tough stretch of the golf course, which means pretty much the status quo has been maintained. Michelle Wie, the US Open champion of 2014, is still in command at the HSBC Women's Champions.
Chance of a birdie for Suzanne Pedersen. World number 19, just leaving it short. Ooh. Tell you what, she gives her golf ball a great talking to, doesn't she? So I suppose it gives Duncan a break.
She was volcanic towards the end of the round yesterday, but early in the day she looked so like the Suzanne Pedersen that we've seen so many times. Lydia's arrived at the first of the short holes on the back 9, 176. It's 145 front, pins all the way back on 31. We know the vagaries of this green. It is a very difficult green, and she's using the contours well.
Oh, that's great with a 5-iron, and that releasing down towards the hole. That is one tough hole location. Although, frankly, the 15th hole has just been difficult all week.
To try and make her up and down for birdie. And to get into a share of second. Currently 3 under par for the day is Sung Hyun Park. More importantly, bogey free.
These days, fans anguish over the lack of personality in many top-level sports. Where are all the characters, they say? Well, I'll tell you where one of them was, on centre stage at Sentosa Golf Club in the 2016 HSBC Women's Champions. At 23 years of age, Korea's pocket dynamo Hana Jang sported a personality which equalled the state of her game. Taking a one-shot lead into the final day, Hana conjured up the low round of the week, a 7-under par 65 to cruise to a 4-shot victory over Thailand's Portanong Pathlin. And all great wins deserve a great celebration, especially if you can finish with an eagle. This to cap off a remarkable performance in the most emphatic fashion. There's the dance. And the game of golf has a new star. Hana's victory dance was inspired by Beyonce's Super Bowl performance. It would turn out to be the middle pin in a year which delivered 3 victories to the effervescent Korean. Hana Jang, living proof that having fun and winning don't have to be mutually exclusive.
And I could watch Hana Jang play all day long. She's 1 under par today, 8 under for the championship as she plays the 14th. We watch on the 13th. Great putt. The lead extends to 2.
And back in the fairway. MJ Hurt just opting to lay up, one would think, with that club. It's going to roll all the way back down to the left.
We'll duck ahead to 18 to have a look at Minjee Lee and see how she can conjure up a shot at the final hole that gets close to the pin. It's difficult to do with this back right hole location.
Oh.
Minjee's done it very well though. What an outstanding approach. And Minjee Lee will have that putt for a 4 under par round of 68.
.229 to the front. Inby playing this out to the right. Oh, she's playing this out a long way to the right. This is going to miss the fairway.
It looked like she was aiming well right then. Interesting. It was a USGA and RNA rules convention. And for those of you who aren't so keen on players being lined up by their caddy, it looks like
Areas in the range, and this is going at it. Oh, it's a big carry. She's going to find the green, and that'll do.
And a player that doesn't need any lining up at all, because that's an eagle putt. But it will be interesting that it's likely that come 2019, players will not be able to be lined up by their caddies.
Well, it's good that they give the players a couple of years to get used to it. As we see Michelle Wee here on the 14th tee. This hole sets up nicely for the way she's hitting the ball at the moment. Just a little fade required.
Fade with a fair bit of run.
It is a smart move by the USGA though, however, to have that advance time for the players to adjust, because these players have been playing that way for years, so to throw it on them quickly would be quite cruel.
Brooke Henderson taking the putter out from off the green at 15. This is one of the fast greens on the golf course. We have seen that all week, and look how quick that was, just running away from it. I think this green would have a different stimp meter reading to a lot of the other surfaces around this golf course.
Pitching this low up the green, and this is looking pretty spectacular.
She could certainly do with it.
Driver stays in the bag once again for Park.
It's going to be a tricky approach shot out of that second cut of rough though to a front left pin.
It's a huge green on 15.
took a turn there at the first set of lights. It was meant to turn left at the second set of lights, Anna Northwest.
Look at that green there. And, well, we're in the commentary box, but maybe later, guys. Can I tempt you for a little drink down with the beanbags behind 15?
Either that or bring the beanbags back to the commentary box. One or the other.
I'm taking mine to the concert.
Indy has a good look up of the long length of this green. A little bit of a downhill slope coming out of the rough. Throwing it into the air, it's going to land and hope it runs out, and it's going to run all right. It's very firm. I must say, one very impressive thing here a moment ago was as MJ Her hit that great shot in. Area was standing here clapping it as it came in. You don't see that very often.
No, that's great.
And she's one of the ones who does it all the time. She's so respectful of the people that she plays with. Long range for Paula Creamer, no stranger to doing that at this event. This is at 16. Oh, yes, a bomb.
Well, go Paula. She finds herself at 8 under par. Hard to believe, but she's put on 12 pounds of muscle since 2016 in September, working with her trainer Chuck Wolf, and says she's got at least 15 yards extra in the off-season working hard with Gary Gilchrist.
That and her swing being much more efficient. On top of that, Cope for birdie.
Wow, you thought that was going to be woefully short when she first made contact.
It's like putting on the cart path, that green at 15. And there was a difference in it from the very word go too.
That really is a super place to come out and watch the goal from behind 15, that centre stage area, put on by HSBC.
Well done to MJ Her. That comes as a welcome change. That birdie at the 13th stops the bleeding a little bit, gets her back to within half a dozen shots of the lead. And this is a par saver for Brooke. Never the right line. It's getting pretty crowded there at 8 under par. That is in a tie for 6th place, and we have 10 players at 8 under. Here's a big moment for Eagle. And it's going to be good enough to get her up into outright or equal 2nd place, I should say, with Lydia Ko at 12 under.
This will be a very good 2-putt for Anna Norquist on the 15th. Yes, and that fist pump indicating the significance. She knows what's at stake this week. It's a big tournament, the 4th event of the 2017 schedule. Go Sweden.
She played it the right way, getting a good look at the length of the green, but unfortunately that is a very uncharacteristic moment for NB Park. So she is going to have to settle for par when a birdie looked very much on the cards. And that will keep her at 11 under. Michelle Wee has been the one, though, who has been the dominant force so far this week. So a par it is for Inby Park, and she remains in a tie for 3rd, 3 back.
The only place harder than this position would be the left rough here on 14. pin's 25 paces onto the green, but it really does play like almost like a front left pin just because of how close it is to the fairway cut.
It was a speedy first putt and safely in with the next. So Ko remains 2 back from Michelle Wie.
Be nice if all birdie putts were this length. Straight in the hole for the world number 2, and she moves up again to get herself in a tie with the world number 1 in the chasing position. Michelle Wie, courtesy of that birdie at the 13th hole, has stretched her lead out to 2 now over the top 2 players in the world. 1 shot further back, Sung Hyun Park and Inbee Park. Inbee just having a bit of a battle today by her lofty standards. 66 for Amy Yang today was one of the rounds of the day, along with So Yeon Yu on this Saturday at the HSBC Women's Championship.
Got to get the club right here on 14. Oh, and stay there. It's fortunate it has, and that presents Michelle Wie with yet another chance. It's just such a solid round of golf from Wie. She hasn't made a bogey all day. She didn't do yesterday. The momentum keeps moving forward.
Hannah Zhang on 15. .45 to the front, but 31 paces on this pin. That getting a very favourable kick forward. And that is going to ride the wave right on down close to the hole. Oh, hello. Give the beanbaggers something to cheer for. And she has a great birdie chance there for Zhang.
And we won't be seeing too many of those at 15 today. That was brilliant. MJ Her finally with a good moment to savour with a birdie at the 13th.
Just playing this down the left-hand side. This fairway kicks left to right, so it's the good side to be on.
Well, this will certainly give Sun Hyun Park something to think about. And once again, as we saw on the previous hole, the 13th, missing the green. And that's a tricky par putt.
This event has grown in stature since its inception in 2008. Part of the reason has been the support of Singapore Airlines in their role in bringing these great players to this wonderful destination, and we thank them for their great support. Area on the tee at 14.
This high in the air down the left-hand side, and it'll just get a kick back towards the fairway.
Par save here for Sung Hyun Park. Little left to right break, if anything. Well, in the end, there was plenty of left to right break, but it's going to be a dropped shot, and that will peg Park back to 10 under par.
Yeah, again, this is just on a similar line for Inbee. All 3 players are in good shape. Varying distances, though, but we'll have different shots in here lengthwise.
Skies look a bit brighter out there, Sandy, at the moment.
Pete, I have been able to put my sunglasses on.
Wonderful.
Can you believe that?
Well, at least you can see where the ball's going now.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Here's Michelle Wie's birdie putt at 14. She's currently at 14 under. she's been giving them a good chance to go in, those that haven't gone in this week. Such a presence on the golf course, but when she plays like this, she looks as though she's in command of everything she does. And she has been featuring in the moments that have mattered over the last hour or so. Let's check them out now. Just saw Sunken Park making a bogey, but this was at the 10th. And any birdie at 10 was a welcome one from about 30 feet as well. Right in the heart.
NB Park got off to a slow start, was 1 over through 6, birdied the 7th. This was on 10 to try and get back into red figures for the day, and that would drop.
Birdie putts are important. Par putts of this length are important at the end of the day as well. Lydia Ko looked as though she was going to make a mess of 13, and then she did this. How good was that for a par save from the world number 1?
Mo Martin from Pasadena from the back edge of 15. Very few putts made from here today. And that one dropped in the left side for birdie, getting Mo back into red figures as well.
For a lot of this day, Michelle Wee has had a lead of 1 shot. She was able to do something about that here at 13 after 2 lusty blows to the front of the green. The pitch was perfect and the birdie was coming, and her lead would go out to 2.
I think we all know that Paula Creamer loves to hold big putts in this event. This from down low on the 16th, up and over the ridge. Hello. And it was nice birdie there on the 16th, getting Paula back to 2 under par for her round.
Suzanne Pedersen could do with a birdie here. It's been a very tough stretch for the 15-time winner, and she does get a red figure on her card, but that only takes her back to 1 over par for the day. Bogeys at 11 and 12 really hurt the look of her card.
Shan Chan for birdie. And that one's going to shoot her up into outright 6th place. Making a charge is Shan Chan Fung. Took her pajamas during one of the rain delays in Thailand last week. Such a character she is.
Only she could get away with something like that. Michelle saves her par and maintains that 2-shot cushion.
Pin on the right here on 16. Brooke Henderson's 3rd. A little bit of an unforced error there, perhaps, given the yardage she had in.
147 for area. It is a wedge, and it's travelling well line-wise. Now it is enough because there's a big hollow at the front of this green. No, sneaks on.
Run up and mark it. It's right on the brow of the hill. A birdie putt coming nonetheless for area. See if the lady she's locked up with at 12 under par can get one in close at this par 5 16th. Not too bad. Birdie putt of some length coming for Lydia to see if she can get one closer.
It's also going to be a wedge for Inby. 133. Again, not a bad line. Is it enough in distance? Yeah, that one just hangs in there as well.
And she'll get a good look at the putt, courtesy of area, because she's a foot or so inside her.
Norquist. Well, she's trying to break a string of 9 pars in a row. Hasn't had a birdie since the 6th hole today. She'll have a chance there.
It's been hard going. There are a couple of holes coming up in the run to the clubhouse where they may be able to pick up a score. Of course, they've got the par 5 16th and also 17 not playing as tough as 18 today. The finishing hole is no snack. Michelle Wee getting it done. Leads by 2 at Sentosa Golf Club in the HSBC Women's Champions. Great to have your company.